what you are charging for, the years of experience baked into that allow you to synthesize quickly or drop a press release in 2 seconds or build a website on your phone.
I've been promoted. I've been in this industry. I know my time now, where I've been in this game and I've reproduced things for 20 plus years, that now I can sit in the boardrooms with the people making big decisions, that are cutting big checks, that have bigger budgets, that value that knowledge. When you're working with people who don't know the gift and value you have, you're casting your pearls before swine.
I have been conditioned that it has to be hard in order for it to be worthwhile.
Yeah. Come on now.
Welcome to CEO Sisters. I am Shuronda Robinson. I'm your host. And today we're talking about self-worth versus net worth. Money can be a tool or a substitute for safety, approval, and control. Today we're exploring the relationship between self-worth and net worth and what enough really means at this stage of life. I'm joined by my CEO sisters, Nicole Cooper and Pam Benson.
Hey.
Hi.
Excited about this topic. Let's talk.
Let's get into it. So I saw a reel recently with the divine Oprah Winfrey, and she was talking about how to do your life, there is a cost. There's a number to that. And for each person, it's different. So let's start there. Like, what do you think about that statement? Do you have a number for what your life looks like for you to fulfill your highest and best expression of yourself?
Pam?
Yep. And I would say that I was sitting in a workshop last year and the speaker said, what's the number in your head for you to feel safe, secure, and comfortable? What's the number? And so I was like, that's so nice. And she's like, no, do the math. What's the number? And I sat there and kind of calculated the math, and it was very liberating to do that. And so, there's a cost, and monetizing it is worth the time to do.
Yeah. I would say for me, I remember it was like a David Bach book, where he had you go through and you kind of calculated your life at retirement and what that looks like. But I mean, when I did that, so much has changed, right? So for me,
inflation,
just
tariffs,
identity,
right?
So much has changed from a standpoint of what that life looks like and how we would create that possibility of what I want it to look like. And what I mean by that is, for me, it's more of the creation process to produce the money, the value, as opposed to just having a number. Because when I think about net worth, it's like, invest in stocks, S&P 500. For me, it's a creation process that is going to help to produce that. So it's a combination of both.
So let's talk about money, though, because
Did you answer?
No.
Can you answer?
Okay.
I'd like you to answer.
My answer is yes, I have a number. It's evolving, though.
Yeah.
Because what I'm recognizing is that it's kind of like that 3-question thing that you talked about with us. Like the first time you give the answer, for me, it was the answer that was acceptable to my parents.
Conditioning.
Right. My conditioning. The second time I give the answer, it was like what I think society will allow me to have. And I'm working on my third answer, which is like, what do I really want?
Yeah.
What does my life really look like when it's fully funded, when it is has financial freedom and financial flow? And so I'm working through that. And I'm looking at things like, how many homes do I want? And where do I want them to be? Mm-hmm. How do I want to travel? What kind of support do I need to bring my dog with me and have my children experience, parts of my life and the things that I'm doing? What support do I want to give to my family? So I'm being very clear about all of these different buckets and not going, I just want to be a millionaire, right? But like, no, this is getting costly, right?
There's
growing.
A dollar amount.
There's a dollar amount attached
a desire.
to. Yeah. Right. It's like, I want a personal trainer. Well, that costs money.
Yeah.
Right. I already get my groceries delivered, but I want someone to cook meals for
Chefs.
me.
Yeah. Private chef.
Right. A private chef to cook meals for me, because although I love to cook and I'm really good at it, it's not the best use of my time right now. And so I think it's really important to like list that out and think through that. So I'm working on my
the quality.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
Okay. So next question then. As it relates to money, I want you all to define it. Because I think in the context of being a CEO and a CEO sister, money might have a different definition than what's happening, like what we've been taught and what we've learned. So what is your definition of money?
So money is a value resource and a tool used in exchange for me to produce what it is that I'm called to create.
You have the best definitions. Love it. And there it is.
Yeah. I mean, because as we're talking about this subject of net worth, I measure life a little differently than money. I look at it as a spirit aligned assignment on the earth. So instead of looking at the number of dollars I accumulate, I'm looking at the days in which I'm operating from a place of purpose and alignment. Because to me, the money's going to come. I'm a child of a king, right? You're children of a royal priesthood. You're an heir to the throne. The money is already predestined and assigned to fulfill my assignment. So I'm not as attached to a number as I am attached to the calling and the assignment. If I can understand what I'm called to do, what I'm called to create, and I function in that role that's in alignment and predestined for me, the provision comes naturally. So I don't have to force the money. I don't have to sit in and constantly, just
be anxious about it and like try to figure it out.
Overconsume. Because I think sometimes when you get too attached to a number, you get artificially and superficially attached to a process. So now it's like anything that I do, I need the money. I need the money. I need the money. I need the money. So now money is making your decisions versus alignment. And because I've been here before.
Are we gonna edit that out?
Are we sliding out of the chair right now?
Sorry, choke.
But
Don't die, Pam.
Well, because I've been in so many rooms where people had the money and they were spiritually bankrupt. And I think that we have to be very careful on what dictates our decisions. And so I'm no longer moved by the monetary measuring stick. I'm moved by the alignment and spiritual divine connection to the assignment.
I get that. I totally get that. As women, we don't have these conversations around money. So I want to make sure that there's clarity around what the definitions are. We're going to get to self-worth and net worth.
Okay.
And so, and all of that, you're going to say it all over again because Pam died on the first version. She passed out over there. But so we'll totally get to that. So restate your definition of money again and what it is. You said it's a tool.
Money is a tool. Mm-hmm. It's a resource designed to be in exchange to pretty much fund the assignment, my assignment on the earth.
Okay, got it. What's your definition?
Would you want to go next? I would not. For me, I define money as a tool that I use to move between access and abundance with ease.
Okay.
I thought a lot about it when we were talking about it before.
Yeah.
And for me, the key is with ease. And the reason why there's ease is because you cannot let the money make you, right? Like, it comes and goes.
Right.
And you have to get into a place of it coming and going. And I think we don't talk about that enough. And to her point about what we're about to go into about like it becomes a driver that you can't control. For me, it's a tool that allows me to move between access and abundance with ease.
And I think for me, it is a reflection of the energy of flow. Right? It represents the energy of flow. And money is just one representation of that. There are other relationships is another representation of it. There are lots of pieces, but there's financial flow.
Yeah.
Right. That money plays a role in that. So to me, it's an energy.
Yeah.
Right. And when I'm happier, I have studied this.
Yeah.
Right. When I'm happier and not worried, the money flows. But when I get tight around it and upset and nervous and, then it's like it slows down. So
real.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's talk about self-worth. We, again, don't have, I think, a really solid definition of what self-worth is as a CEO. And we have other episodes where we talked about being fulfilled and purpose and alignment. And so, but let's talk about self-worth and how it shows up, because then I want to connect self-worth to net worth, to money, to alignment, to purpose. We're going to get all in there today.
So I feel like self-worth is your ability to see how valuable you are and what your contributions are. And it also is connected to what you attract. So usually our self-worth is a reflection of what we attract in our value and I don't want to say your net worth, because your net worth is a process of building up to, but it's a reflection of how you value what you're worthy of attracting.
Okay.
Did she just roll her eyes? She did. Second grade style.
Did we get that? Did we get the eye roll? Can we play that back? I want to play that back. There was an eye roll.
That reminded me of elementary school. When you was just like,
I'm rolling. I'm in my energy. I'm being called to task because I know that Nicole's really grounded in this area, and I have work to do, and so I'm listening to her rip these off, and I'm just like, man,
she's good, and that girl is good.
She's so good at it, and I mean, the eye roll.
I love you. It was so good.
It was her loving eye roll.
Yes,
it's a love. I'm like,
so
really
awesome.
Self-worth. I think I still am defining it, but in the moment that I'm in now, as I've just walked through some kind of major changes, is really around the embodiment of being who I am fully in all those roles, when there is zero concern about who is watching me and who is paying attention.
Yeah. I agree with you that Nicole is really grounded in this.
Super grounded.
So helpful to have someone in your life and in your circle who, like, money isn't a butt clenching,
right,
sweaty experience.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah,
it just is what it is, right? Well, people get wrapped around the axle about it, right?
Yeah.
Because we use it to determine so much of how we see ourselves and how we see other people. And so we want to, like, unpack that.
Well, you're soft pedaling. People break up over money.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem.
Right.
Like, it's a huge issue.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not over money. It's over the power and control that they perceive
about
around
money.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
yes,
right.
for real.
You said the last time, you said you talked about the CEO with the value of money.
Yeah. If a CEO doesn't understand their relationship with money, it will impact the success of an organization. And the reason why that's important is because if your relationship with money is what you just described, you're only doing sustainability. If your relationship with money is a tool that you described, then you are looking at durability.
Okay, we got it.
With
Bye.
T-shirt. Yeah. And that concludes today's episode.
Right?
I want to unpack that so much.
Shuronda's always talking about mindset. That's the shift.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, sustainability, whatever. That you're still going to be bound by the cash.
Right. I had a really powerful session this past weekend around responsibility and money, and it's that same kind of theme, right? Like, owning a business, it's all about cash flow, right?
Always.
It's always about how you manage that ebb and flow. And I was saying to the other person, I was like, I'm really proud of the fact that I don't freak out anymore when the money is low, the cash flow is low. She said, oh, you've just built up a tolerance. I was like, oh, God, I have. I've just built up a tolerance. You haven't made this a non-negotiable in your life, right? That you were always, because of how I see myself and my own worth, that I'm always abundant. Yeah, that was the face I was making.
Wow.
It wrecked me.
You built a tolerance.
I built a tolerance because I haven't made it a non-negotiable.
Shut up.
Because I have not valued who I am in that way, because money has been dirty. It has been the root of all evil. It has been used for manipulation and, power and control, like all of these uses for money. And I don't ever want to be like that. But I also want to be successful in business, so I've got to deal with it. And yeah, it left me on the floor. It left me just crumpled in a little ball. So self-worth, and that's what I'll just pause here, because I think that when we talk about the issues that are like right in our face, as women who lead, as women who run organizations, it is a spiritual journey.
100%.
Yes.
And so having conversations about how we see ourselves and our identity and our worth, it's what you said. If you can't handle money, it means that there's some underlying issue with how you see yourself and your identity. And in order to lead effectively and have the people who are relying on your leadership to live their best life and their highest use, which is what the business is about, then you have to lead in that way. So I want to talk about self-worth and a little bit more, because Pam, I heard your definition. Pam, I want to hear you explain it from a spiritual standpoint, right? I want to hear you, like, let's get in there with people, because this, I think, is what determines how people move through their life with either lightness and joy or burden and pain and shame. And that's a big task. So I'm going to give you a moment.
Well, I think when it's all said and done, the conditioning around it is so deep that if you subscribe to a different model, it takes you a minute to adhere to it. You can't walk into a room and say, money is a spiritual endeavor. People are like, what? Yeah. Because it's so far. So what I would say about that is the shifting that happened for me is that when I realized that tool is actually not mine. We're always trying to assign an ownership or something that we have to take. When I was able to say that money is really not mine, it flows through me, to your point, then my adherence to it or my bondage in it started to lift. And what's so crazy about it is the more that I would utilize it to bring forth whatever, usually not even about me. Like whenever I would sow seed into somebody else's thing or whatever, I would realize that the answer that came on the other end of it was a gift I didn't expect, or a contract that came forward, or a payback that I didn't realize was happening. And so the more that I would release the burden of the heaviness of money in my business, more came. And so it just became, I think people would probably categorize it now as like, you're just reckless, because we don't know what to do with that. So it's like, she's just too free flowing with money. Right. Because A, it's not mine to hold on to. And B, your money will work for you if you do not make it a burden. So the spiritual aspect of it is, how do I remain in the flow of this tool? Not let this tool make me, but remain in the flow of this tool and match it with my calling in a way that says it's going to come and go. But what's solid is my vision. And my vision is not a community service project. So nobody actually has to get it. Nobody understand why Noah was making the ark. Noah just built the ark. It's not raining yet. He did it anyway. Right? So at the end of the day, when I started doing that, flow came. Whenever I tighten up, like I'm even a little tight. I told Nicole over here, I'm like, it's a little closer than I like it. That account is a little closer than I like it. I just stop myself. Because the quickest way to cut off the spiritual alignment of flow is to give it power in a way that holds you captive. So I just stop myself, because as soon as I start saying that, it cuts off.
But how do you have to see yourself in order to be able to do that, right?
Abundant.
Okay.
Flowing. I probably don't talk about it enough, but top of my game for what I am doing. Like I don't, a lot of time, I've spent a lot of time in my conditioning depreciating myself in rooms to be tolerable in rooms.
Right.
I don't do that anymore. So now it's abundant, flowing, and it's a tool versus a hindrance, something that's uncomfortable. And then what happens is people who also have that behavior come around you, right? So I only need to go to dinner with you one time when you pull out a calculator to never see me again. One time.
No splitting the check.
Pull out a calculator and see what happens. I'm done.
We don't do that.
I'm just saying, but that says to me, you are you must have not enjoyed the short reel because you were too worried about the end game. I'm trying to be present with my short reel.
Right.
So that just says to me, your relationship with money has you bound, and I can't have that around me spiritually because I'll start to resemble that and act it out. So I just have to stay away.
I love that. So let's talk about abundance and like what it feels like in your body. And it may not match what's in your bank account. It doesn't have to, right? What are the feelings or the expression or the thoughts that run through your head when you are feeling and you're embodying abundance? Can you explain what that looks like, sounds like, acts like?
I think abundance is support and trust. You used the word flow earlier. It's like an expectation of provision, right? So it's like if my Father runs the world and has everything I need, I'm moving as if the check is already cut. So I don't have to keep overthinking or over contemplating or over strategizing about provision. I act as if provision is already made.
So can I roll my eyes?
It's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen. No, this is so good.
Well,
I struggle with that though, because when you lead, you're taught to like look ahead, to have the forecast, to figure it out, to know what the plan is, to put the plan in place, to work the plan. Like, well, so you're telling me that I can just trust.
Here's what that looks like instrumentally in real practical life. And I think about us as CEOs, right? When when we move into our CEO role, when we build businesses, it's usually from inspiration and it's from gifting and skills. Yeah. You're going to be drawn to something you're really good at doing. When you first get started, it's done in service and in love. It's like, oh my God, I love what I'm doing.
Right.
So you might come and just do it for free in the beginning because you're like, I just love that I get to do this, right? And you don't quite yet earn the income yet. You're just putting in the practice that this could be a way of life. Then you start realizing, oh, I can actually make money doing this. You ask for the money and you're doing it in service. But what I believe that happens from a spiritual place is you get downloads and clarity on ways to continue to level up what it is that you do. So when I think about my journey and what it's been, it went from taking that gift and skill and actually just doing it for people for like, can you give me $8 an hour? I do it. I take $100. It was I'm just excited to do this thing to, I get to put an actual price tag onto it, to, I can go out here and actually teach other people how to do this thing. I can actually package this up and sell the resources to this thing. Mm-hmm. What I've seen happen for me over time is learning how to instrumentally scale that up to a place where the money begins to 10x, 20x.
So, and what I'm looking for is like, what, in terms of identity, we've talked about identity on this podcast. How does your identity shift as you are scaling? So, and the reason that I'm asking this question is because my coach would say, in business, the numbers are about keeping score. Mm-hmm. Right. And it lets you know, it gives you a way, not the only way, but a way to see yourself. And so how does your view of yourself shift from, I'll do this for free because I love it, to, I can make some real money from doing what I love? Because
you attach a dollar amount. So you go from, I'm just happy to get anything. Just give me whatever you want. Right. To, no, it's $1,000 if you want this done. To, no, it's a $10,000 package now. To, $50,000.
But what gives you the audacity to attach a dollar amount?
You begin to discover your value and your gifting in it. Your confidence increases. Mm-hmm. And it comes with practice, right? Because in the beginning, we second guess if we're good enough. Then you get the feedback of like,
That's
oh my
what
gosh.
I'm looking for. Yeah.
You're really good at this. And then you realize when you start getting shortchanged, you be like, wait, I'm putting a lot of time and energy into this. This little $1,000 you giving me. It ain't, you know, I told you it just happened to me with one of my clients. She moved from one country to the next and she was like, oh, in America, this don't work. She 3.5x what she charged us because she went from being in another country to here. But you begin to realize, like, this is my value, this is my worth. So your confidence begins to build up. And you also are getting feedback that people will pay you more. Like, there has to be a connection point. It can't just be like, oh, you got to pay me $100,000. It has to be the validation, but they go hand in hand. So the confidence goes, your ability to discover how good you are goes along with the price point that you charge, and then somebody willing to cut you that check. And then it begins to get higher and higher and higher.
So one of the things that I've observed in both of you that could be perceived as a bad habit is because you have perfected your craft, right? So there's an ease that comes with perfecting your craft. That then there's this stopgap sometimes on really monetizing what the actual cost should be just because you do it faster and just because you know it. But what you are charging for are the years of experience baked into that allow you to synthesize quickly or drop a press release in 2 seconds or build a website on your phone. And I think that we can't remove the past labor that got you to the expertise. And I think that becomes a stopgap for both of you because you're like, that was nothing for me to do it. Yeah, but if other people could do it, they wouldn't be coming to y'all to do it. So you got to shore up then the financial piece, which is already a hard thing. And then I think the fear of somebody going, that's too much. It's too much for you and keep it moving. Like, and then we're like, oh, well, I'll do it. No, not the right fit. That whole not the right fit piece that we're in right now is ugly. I don't know if we're the three of us are
leaving. I'm leaving. I'm just gonna. Can somebody else do this?
I'm sorry.
No,
I mean,
I'm
not.
But it's real.
I don't think the three of us are prepared for the lonely road we are about to trod on that because I've started leaving money when you offer me something when I know better. How many of us have taken on the client that we reduced our price for, and it costs 3 times the most energy to get it done? Not all money's good money.
Right.
I'm leaving that money on the table because
that's knowing your worth and valuing your time.
It is. Yeah. And I think sometimes y'all think that we don't. It's like, I know that was painful, but every time we do it, what comes behind it?
Yeah.
Something stratospheric.
I want to talk about why I'm leaving the room.
Okay.
just a little bit. So when you were talking about the consideration of the decades of expertise and experience that get you to a point where you can see a problem, understand what it is, and understand how to solve it in minutes, right? Where I wanted to run out of the room was like, oh my goodness, I devalue that so often, right? Because it's so easy for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? And I have been conditioned that it has to be hard in order for it to be worthwhile.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah. It has to be difficult in order for it to have any real value. And that I need to work hard at the things that are hard for me to get better at them instead of
double downing on
what is absolutely genius for me that I can do like this and move on down the road.
Right.
But what I recognize in this moment is that I have no value for that. And it's painful.
Ooh.
And I didn't know as much work as I've done, right? I didn't know that I didn't really value or appreciate the ease at which I can make things happen and do things and pull things together and solve problems and like all the things that I do in my organization. And so I'm just going to stop talking and let you all.
But I want y'all to know I call it a bad habit because it's sometimes hard to watch with y'all.
It's really bad.
I have a different experience than you have with you because I'm watching from a different lens.
Yeah.
And so on any given day, I experience you typing up something important, solving a problem in real time, while putting on your lip liner, ordering groceries, making sure, like, I'm watching it. And so I think because you've been in that ebb and flow so long, and you've just gotten, it's almost like getting a callus on your finger, right? After a while, it wears and wears. You don't feel it anymore because you got a callus. The skin's tough. Your skin's tough. So when your skin gets tough, you then assume that this must be how everybody's doing it. It actually isn't. I think that y'all probably sit in probably the very top quadrant, maybe 4 or 5% of entrepreneurs and CEOs in the country. And so what are we doing if we are not valuing how I watched more business happen on one day on my back porch than happened at the stock exchange on that day that we were trying to crank some stuff out? It was crazy. Then Nicole gets up and goes to my office. She's coaching a woman. Shuronda's on the back having a team. I mean, that was crazy. And again, because I'm so secure, what did I do? I just ordered some pizzas. I was like, but I watched y'all.
Right.
And I thought, y'all solved 90 problems that day.
Yeah.
So who are you if you cannot deeply see your self-worth in that? That says to me that the societal conditioning that women leaders experience is deep down in the pinky toe, and it must be unlearned.
I think what goes along with that is permission to graduate. I think what we do is we accommodate an audience when we start, and I think we have a topic coming up on that. But we have to learn that you've outgrown who you've been serving, and you have to continue to give yourself a promotion. That was one of the revelations that I've had recently is for years.
I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to I'm like,
shots fired.
Keep breathing. Just breathe.
Shouldn't have worn her corrective undergarments today.
It's the ability to give yourself permission to elevate how you support. So for example,
okay, that's what I need. Example. Walk me through this slowly, Nicole.
So for example, I guess I can use myself for an example. So I've ran agencies and media companies for years. We started off with providing support for the solopreneur, the person that's just getting started. They don't have a big budget. They have a little bit of money. So you're like, give me anything that you got. I'm so happy somebody is hiring me. But then you realize like, well, this person really can't afford to pay me. So I really need to work with somebody that has, marketing budgets. So then you graduate to that. Then you realize, let me go to mid-sized businesses. But what we have to learn how to do is realize, okay, it's not just about fulfilling the service as a provider. It's about the system that you've learned to create. Right. That, okay, instead of me trying to keep providing services as a provider, let me package the system.
Right.
Let me sell the system. This
is what you're so good at.
Right? Yes. Mm-hmm. So you sell the system. So you can sell the system in multiple ways. I can either create a tool that is going to automate what we've been doing and then sell that to a company, or I can sell myself going to companies that pay me much larger dollars to train teams to do that. Or you can build software, SaaS, right? Software as a system, where now I do this, I take my system, I turn it into a software that I sell, and now I have 1,000 people paying me $500 a month to get access to my system. The goal is graduation. And I think what we're not taught enough is how to graduate.
The goal is graduation.
The goal is graduation.
The goal is graduation.
Right? So I think for me, it's taken me so long because I know my value. What I got stuck on is how to remove myself from the doing of the work. Because when you are attached and addicted to the doing and you love what you do, it's almost a heartbreak to separate yourself from the fulfillment side to actually produce a process and a system that you're no longer doing. And so now...
the bottom line is we will either be on this couch next year or we won't. And the deciding factor is, are we going to execute the necessary losses that need to occur.
Cut the cord.
Or are we not? Are we going to, or are we not? If there are some necessary losses that we all have in this bucket, including like detaching from the day to day, all those things, that are going to be critical to the elevation point.
So what my insides are screaming, right? The part of me that has been so wrapped up in being so good at what I do and being available to serve and to help, and like my passion and love. I'm probably rambling right now, but the part of me that is screaming inside is like, well, what are you gonna do?
It's your identity. It's become your identity.
What are you going to do next?
Yeah.
And I honestly believed, and it's the universe is it's so interesting, right? I honestly believed that I had graduated from that. Right. Because I remember stepping back and like doing that internal work to understand what my ego was saying versus who I am as a child of God, and like really reconciling that so that I could move my life forward. And what I'm now experiencing is, I've got to do that multiple times.
Yeah.
I've got to do that. That's not a one and done. Like, you may graduate from high school once.
Right.
But in life, you are graduating over and over and over and over again. And so the tricky, the interesting or the tricky part, or the game that the funny part that I'll laugh about a year from now when we're on the couch is like, I thought I had already answered all these questions for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
And not in a like, I know everything kind of way, but I thought I had dealt with this, and so now I'm available to support other people. But there are levels to this.
I was gonna say, it's continuing,
next
evolving.
level.
You're constantly evolving.
And I know this.
But Shuronda,
I'm always surprised when it happens.
I think it's going to be a more interesting road for you. So I don't believe, and watching you the last couple of years, I don't believe it's what am I going to do next for you. I think it's who am I going to be next. And I think that's why it's messing with you, because you're doing the work. You've been to the mountaintop. You've sat with the nuns, the sweat lodge, Switzerland, Ireland, all these places to do the work.
Right.
I think the easier answer for you is what to do next. You have a whole legal pad of ideas.
Yeah.
That's actually not your trajectory from watching your growth. Right. It's who am I going to be next? I think that's your intersection.
1000%. And this is why I know that having a sisterhood in a circle that can hold the mirror up and ask not the hard question, but ask the piercing question that gets beyond the surface of who am I, and helps me to refine that, right? And to shape that is so powerful. So what you're witnessing live is what is called perturbation, right? It's remember when you were in biology class and you watched the single cell amoeba, and they had the video, and then they showed the single cell amoeba, it started vibrating, right? Because the energy was building so that it could grow, so that it could split.
Separate,
So it could separate. And so why
do I know that now and I didn't know it in class? On the test.
Because you work with somebody now that says we are all atoms.
We're atoms.
We're all energy. We're all
That's why you know it now.
There's so much space, right?
Right.
But creating what you're witnessing is my perturbation moment. I'm literally like, can I breathe?
But all three of us are in a see, this is why this is powerful. All three of us are in a version of that. And so if you're the person that is I get to bear witness to you two every day. And I find it fascinating that we get into these meetings, and sometimes in my mind I'm thinking to myself, they don't realize that the friction is fuel for them. Both of you, when friction comes, y'all turn that stuff into fuel.
You can cuss.
I almost cussed and kick it. I'm trying to work on it. You see me how I tried to hold that? And y'all, the way that y'all like take the friction and spit it back out for good is phenomenal. But I think because you're in it, sometimes you don't see it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why we need other people. I want to talk about nervous system, because that's what's happening, right? around this conversation around self-worth versus net worth and money and financial flow and growth. And I will say that when I feel this way, sometimes I can misinterpret it as danger.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can misinterpret the growth as there is something wrong and something wrong with me because I'm not meant to feel this way. And so I want you all to speak to how to, because you gave us a good model. Like, you know, I went from seeing myself this way to valuing to, okay, creating systems, right, in the external. How do you do that internally when you're dealing with, like, all the feedback is rushing through me right now? It's like, oh, watch out. And I know I'm safe. I know I'm good. I know this is all good. But my whole system is like, what the hell? We dealt with this, right? We're done with this. So are there practices, processes, systems, affirmations that you all use when you know that you're dealing with your own self-worth and you're growing, or you're on that growing edge?
So I think we talked about it today on the call, when we had our mastermind call, is we got to understand that with growth comes death.
She didn't say that this morning just like that.
She didn't. It got better.
But,
It got sharper.
Got better on the
you
ride
gonna
here.
die.
Yeah.
Well, you got to let go of what used to work in order to move into what is the new version of you.
That's so scary.
It's very scary, and it does take risk. And I think that's where faith, alignment, and vision comes into play. Because you got to let go of some old money to get to the new money. And you got to let go of desperation to get to elevation.
I said I was going to leave before. Now I really mean it.
For me, with Nicole, it's always between stabbing her with my pen and hugging her. I don't know if I want to stab her.
We're filming it. Don't stab her.
But I mean,
let's do it after we turn the camera off.
But it literally, it is. It's knowing that it's a painful process to progress. It's a very hard journey to move forward because we get attached to what
always
works.
True?
So yes and yes. And here's why it's always true.
I think I say no.
Yeah, here's why it's always true. It's because when you are graduating, it requires a higher and different version of you on how you think, how you operate, how you function, and how you move. And you cannot be attached to what used to work. You have to let those things go, right? So for example, this is what I was thinking about earlier. I realized that I stayed too long in what I was doing because I was attached to the validation that I got from the immediate connection to the consumer market, right? So when you're working with a consumer market, there's constant feedback.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I can go out here today and launch a coaching program and work with a bunch of people. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. However, what I realized is the level in which I wanted to graduate on how I service people no longer fit that audience. So I couldn't continue to keep trying to, it's like I kept dumbing myself down from the value that I could produce, trying to accommodate a market that no longer aligned with what I was ready to provide. So I had to release. It doesn't mean I release the systems. The systems still work, but it's shifting the market, right?
So it's about impact.
It's about impact, but it's also about it's a graduation in thought, how you think, how you move, how you operate, how you interact. So instead of working, so for example, I'm just gonna go back to the basics. I used to service people that are just starting businesses. Right? So it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I want to do. I'm thinking about, I want to be this business. They got 5 different ideas. So you're sitting there with that person trying to get them to pick an idea. Then you're telling them, oh, get the domain name. When the truth was, I did that 20 plus years ago. Now I need to be sitting at the tables with CEOs who are running multi-million-dollar organizations that are looking for strategy for growth. Right. And when you think about the 5 stages of business, you got the dream, launch, grow, scale, and then you have this mastery stage. Well, I was still hanging out with the dreamers and the starters when I should have been with the scales and the mastery. Right. So I'm starting to be unfulfilled when we talk about, you know, on fulfillment versus being, what was the word that we used?
Unfulfilled versus being fulfilled.
being useful versus
being fulfilled.
I was useful to that beginner audience, but I was fulfilled working with those at the higher level of scale and mastery. So
because you were aligned with your purpose, and you were bringing this contribution that was bigger than what the startups could hold.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And I found myself bored, dumbing myself down, and then frustrated because financially you're not going to get what you need from an audience that don't have no money.
I hope y'all are listening.
You're just not. So how do you expect to make money from an audience that is no longer a match to produce the kind of income that you want to generate? And I think that's what we miss. It's like, this is a misfit. Like, I am called to greater rooms and greater tables. It doesn't mean that you're arrogant or you're better than. No, I've graduated. I've been promoted. I've been in this industry. I know my time now, where I've been in this game and I've reproduced things for 20 plus years, that now I can sit in the boardrooms with the people making big decisions, that are cutting big checks, that have bigger budgets, that value that knowledge. When you're working with people who don't know the gift and value you have, you're casting your pearls before swine. It's a misfit. It's a misfit. And you're frustrated. They're frustrated because you're speaking above their heads, and it's just frustration everywhere. Then they turn around and ask for a refund because they feel like you didn't do nothing for them.
And what's so crazy about it is the effort level is the same with the dreamer. When you're misaligned, the effort is no different than the effort when you're aligned. Why would you spend the time and effort when you know you're not aligned? And if we're honest, everybody, if I asked you to do it, could name a time that immediately when you walked in the room, you knew you were in the wrong room. Immediately.
It's like going back to kindergarten when you've graduated from high school.
It is.
Right? It's like you're not going to go sit back in kindergarten class. Right?
Yeah.
You're on the merry-go-round on the playground.
You're not going to go back.
You're not going
You've
back.
You learned your ABCs. You know how to read and write, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is so good.
And for us, for us is that the more we keep recycling that, what are we to learn from that? Mm-hmm. That is the self-worth component.
Yeah.
Right? We're so worried about self-worth being tied to being arrogant, or she thinks she's this, or all the name calling, that we will remove ourselves from ourselves in order to be acceptable in a space with people that can't pay us.
Help me.
I'm just saying, like, we will do it and then be mad all the way home.
If you need help.
But you know, it reminds
me. Once if you can.
If you need help.
Once if you're okay.
It reminds me of when I was in real estate, when I used to sell real estate. And it was this woman, we were in Orlando at the time, and it was this one woman who had all the celebrities. She had Shaquille O'Neal, Grant Hill. We were in Orlando at the time, and they had this place where all the celebrities lived. And I would say her name, but anyway. But I just remember watching how this woman moved around the city. And every celebrity knew when you wanted to buy a house, you bought from her. And I had a desire. I was like, ooh, I want to be like her. I used to say her name all the time. I was like, oh, I was young in my early 20s. And my thing is I wanted to aim for the top. And so I went to this guy who was a top seller in our office, and his name was Tony Marino. And I was like, Tony, I asked him, can I take the lunch? He was like, I don't have time to go to lunch. Come meet me in my office. We could talk right now. And so I said, what's the secret to success? And he said, Nicole, you have people who are hunters and people who are farmers. He said, the farmers are going to throw seeds out and they're going to wait for a harvest to come to them. He said, but a hunter is going to go out for the day and he's not coming home until he has his kill for the day. He said, you got to learn how to be a hunter. And he sold multi-million-dollar houses. And I was like, well, what's the difference? How can I start selling multi-million-dollar houses? He said, Nicole, it's going to take the exact same amount of effort to sell a multi-million-dollar house as $100,000 house.
Right.
He said, what you have to learn how to do is position yourself in multi-million-dollar rooms and become the expert of that industry that everybody knows you're the go-to, and you master everything you need to know to accommodate that office and stop hanging around in $100,000 rooms. And when he taught me that,
Wow.
it was like, you get to frame what that gets to look like, but it's a decision you make.
Right.
I can choose to focus
There's
on
no one outside of you
Nobody's
making that
predicting
choice.
what is your mastery. I can master selling $100,000 houses, or I can master selling multi-million-dollar houses. And the commission at the time for that was 3%. And if you have both sides, it's 6%, right?
Wow,
So
yeah.
it's a difference. If I sell $1 million house, that's a $30,000 check versus a $100,000 house, which is a $3,000 check.
Same
I'm
effort.
working 10 times harder, right? I'm doing the same work to make 10 times less just because of how I aim. And I think we don't understand, it's not about there's qualifiers there. It's about choice, decision,
Yep.
deciding I'm going to work the multi-million-dollar audience and become the master of that. And what you'll find is your phone just continue to ring
That's
because
right.
the $1 million people now are like, oh, she's the go-to.
Right.
And that's what happened to the lady that I follow.
Once you realize that the effort spent
It's the same.
is the same,
Exact same.
and that you cannot elevate with an entourage, you're on your way. But the
nervous system, the
conditioning. You know, I went and got a brain science certification a couple years ago because I wanted to, as I coach leaders, we weren't landing. So I could give them all the books and the 6-step system and how to manage your time, all that stuff. But I realized that there was the brain science around those hard set patterns and conditioning was a barrier to kind of getting over this hump. And so when you start to realize where things sit in the brain and how, you know, the piece around gratitude and the piece around success don't sit in the same, like you have to, there's a science to it. The central nervous system, when deregulated, can't make good decisions. If you can't make good decisions, you're going to be in the room where you're doing the effort for the $4 versus the $4 million. And I think at the end of the day, we have to realize that conditioning, you have to go up, you have to go after it, like with a rigor, like you have to fight it.
That's the
because
hunter.
That's the you have to hunt for it, and you sometimes even don't know when you're doing it. And so I just feel like there's such a, you know, I young Pam experienced what she thought was one of her best speeches of all time to leaders. I came off the stage, and the person at the time that was behind the stage, who happens to be Ann Richards because she mentored me in this organization, said to me, you were great to that last part. And that last part, you stood in front of a group of women and said, I'm not even trying to be rich. She said, you lost the room. I'll never forget this. Why would you end on, I'm not trying to be rich? I said, I'm not trying to be rich. She said, then you don't have enough self-worth to address this program. We're taking you down to not the state program, but knock me down.
And this was the leadership.
Leadership.
Yes,
you get back on your feet. We'll bring you back up. But you just
Lost the room.
fumbled on that last part, trying to be humble and relatable.
Right.
You do want to be rich.
Yes.
If it gives you access to your. I mean, she tore me up about it, and I will never forget the look on her face. How did you get to the end of that? Because I went back into my conditioning. It's not polite for a woman to say that she wants to
be
have
wealthy.
wealth. She said that's directly tied to your self-wealth. You go do local.
Whoa.
Anybody else?
It's a wrap.
I will just address the one last thing about the nervous system. Sure. I think that when we talk about our nervous system, we have to understand how, like, techniques in regulation. And I think stepping into unfamiliar territory makes things very uncomfortable for a lot of people. But I want to encourage imagination because, you know, anything that we do that's new, it's unfamiliar territory. But I think if we give ourselves permission to step into our imagination, they even did this prediction with basketball players. They had a group of basketball players close their eyes every day as a common practice and imagine themselves making shots versus those that actually made the shots. And the ones who had the imagination that the shot went in every single time scored higher than the ones who actually practiced. What we don't understand is our subconscious does not know what's real from what's fake. So when we begin to create mental visual pictures about what we want to see happen, not what we're afraid to happen, but we focus on what we want to see happen, what happens is when you repetitively do that over and over again, your body is already acting as if it's in operation to produce that. It's programming it. So the shock factor is less. So that's why they create movies, the television, right? Television is giving you these mental imprints of
Pam and I are having a whole other conversation with our eyes over here. Like, oh, there she goes. There's another one. I wish that I was writing these down, but it would.
But I don't think
apologies, sincerely.
Well, no.
I want you to know your genius
all the time
is brilliant and beautiful. And I think for me, part of like my discomfort is bringing laughter to it so that I can feel more comfortable in my space. It is no reflection on you.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
No, I love y'all because y'all be having some faces.
like
and
oh my God.
This is Mastermind Normal.
I'm trying to stay alive and trying to breathe.
I'm literally treading in the water with a Charlie. I'm like, please stop.
This is us every Wednesday on
my
our
system
call.
can't take it no more.
Yeah.
Just like, let me go.
Yeah. But I mean, we need to wrap it up. But I just want to say that imagination helps with the nervous system because I think that's why I've been able to be so like risky in life is because I was such a dreamer and willing to be like crazy about it. Yeah. And I realized I didn't realize it till like now, how much of a tool and advantageous that was because I didn't care. It was like, I don't care what people think. I'm just going to try it. But I realized because you repetitively are seeing stuff in your mind so much, it makes an impact. So just wanted to kind of share, like we got to get back to really helping people understand the power of your imagination and what that does for the subconscious and the psyche.
Just smile. Just smile. I read somewhere that when you smile, it sends a signal to your body.
Yeah, it does.
It changes your system as well. So just smile through it.
I'm thinking to myself, you can't ride home with me today.
You're on Uber.
Get your own car. Get your own car. Well, we have had a highly entertaining as well as informative and real conversation about self-worth versus net worth. And I hope that you have gotten something out of it for your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us today on this episode of CEO Sisters. And we'll see you next time. Love you.
Love you.